A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, Nightcast Creative, Dicey Cantina, and Erica Goodwitch present Path of the Storm, a High Republic story. The Nihil are defeated. After dropping their prisoners off at Cloud City, Jedi Knight Kel and Padawan Horbo make a quick stop on Varonat. As the Jedi bring their shuttle over the planet's jungles, trouble is brewing in the small settlement of Edgefields.
I am Mark Eberhardt, host and producer of Coruscant Nights and the Otherplace, and tonight I am playing Kel. Kel is a Drabatin Jedi Knight. He is a consular teacher. His emotional strength is curiosity. His emotional weakness is obsession. He has been around the galaxy a few times, teaching young Jedi Knights things that they need to know about how the galaxy works and how to be better and be strong beacons of light in the Force.
My name is Doug Eberhardt, and I am a friend and player on Coruscant Nights, Nightcast, etc., Dicey Cantina, all of those things I love to play, and I will be playing Horbo tonight. Horbo is a Gigoran, which are the large white Wookiee-like species with a translator mask over their face. Horbo is a warrior, and Horbo's a Jedi Padawan, a young Padawan in previous seasons. Horbo was 15. I'm going to say Horbo had his birthday between now and the last episode we had.
5 days? Okay.
Has it only been 5 days? I'm not taking it back. Horbo had his birthday 2 days ago. Horbo is 16 years old now. Horbo got a lot of snacks from his Jedi masters and knights that he is friends with. And just before I forget, Horbo's weakness is bravery and recklessness.
I'm Andrew, host and producer of the Dicey Cantina, co-producer of Path of the Storm, which Mark conveniently forgot that he's a producer of as well. And I'll be the GM this evening. We've got a little modular encounter to do, and it's going to be fun. When we left off with everyone at the end of Season 1, the Nihil had been defeated and captured at the Jedi outpost / temple on Bava. Bava sustained a bit of damage in its caves and structure. This is the Wild West of the galaxy at the moment. And so the Jedi at Bava have decided to turn the Nihil over to the local authorities, to the O'Donnells on Bespin, that are building a brand new, glorious-looking Cloud City. Kel and Horbo were tasked with dropping off the last of the prisoner on Cloud City, and they are making their way back to the temple at Bava when they've stopped over at a nearby system that has a fledgling colony on it called Varonat.
Would you say this is a quick stopover?
This is a quick stopover. I think some of the dock workers and folks in Cloud City talking about the goods, materials, and the brews that come from Varonat. It's just the two of you. You've taken your shuttle and on your way, heading back to Bava. It's a short hop from the Bespin system.
I think Kel and Horbo are in the cockpit, and Kel is giving Horbo flying lessons.
Of course he is.
What does that sound like?
Easy on the throttle, Horbo. As we come into atmosphere, you're gonna feel it. Just pull back, let the gravity do the work.
I see. It's really not that different from my fighter. The wheel sticks a little bit more so.
Well, it's certainly older, and it's a bit heavier, so you're really gonna feel it as we hit atmosphere. In 3, 2, 1.
Varonat is a bright green marble in the galaxy. It's a very warm jungle planet. A few planes scattered about. And I think that as a result, the atmosphere is particularly thick and turbulent. So let's go ahead and start with a piloting roll to set down.
Is Horbo piloting?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a pretty average piloting check, but in describing that atmosphere, I'm going to add 2 setback to it.
Reach out with the Force. You can feel, just like in your vector, you feel the flows of air coming towards us, moving away from us. Watch the clouds. watch the sky as you come in for a landing. We can see the small spaceport over there. I want you to take it down there.
All right, can do. Just like my vector. Are you trying to add some kind of boost by...
Yeah, I'm trying to add a boost with you using the Force.
Does that add anything else?
How much does Horbo lean into the Force to pilot here?
I think that this pep talk has him like really thinking about what the connection is between the Force and flying, which is maybe something that is typically more subconscious or unconscious. So I think he's leaning in a little bit harder into the Force. He also doesn't want to crash and kill this Jedi Knight and himself.
Yeah, let's add a white dice to this as well.
Wow. This could be like fun and scares me that I could just roll way more dark sides than in a typical game.
Now you can choose whether or not to use those dark side or the light side pips as they come up when you do them. However, with these flexible Force rules, I would say before you roll, by adding in this dice, if there are threat that are generated, I might add conflict at the end to calculate them for Horbo.
Okay, I understand now. And one success. Wow, there's a lot of die to result in one success and one dark side. And would using the dark side give me like an additional success?
It could give you a success or an advantage, but it would also give you conflict.
Okay, I'm not gonna use my dark side since I had one success. Yeah, but yeah, maybe if Horbo were to use the Force, it would be out of maybe a little stress. So I think he pushes that down and just does his best.
Horbo is able to keep control of the yoke and glide the shuttle that you're in down to one of the two colonies that have been formed probably about 15 years ago. So these aren't like brand new colonies. They've got a couple thousand people in them. You have landed at Edgefields. Edgefields is on the edge of the plains and the jungle near the equator. A rumored watering hole, so to speak, called the Sleeping Rancor that was recommended to you by the folks at Cloud City. There is rows of warehouses and a little marketplace. You can spot the Sleeping Rancor in shortly from the spaceport, and you can see it's tucked in between these warehouses with a Ronto pit kind of attached out to the back of it. It's got a little cafe. The streets are still mostly dirt, as one might expect from the age that we're in with the High Republic.
A respectable landing, Horbo.
Thank you.
Shall we disembark? I hear good things about this Sleeping Rancor, though I'm afraid you might be a little too young to partake in their libations.
I am much larger than you. You'd be surprised what I can partake in. Khaled, I respect your wisdom and will follow your lead.
You know what they say about a Sleeping Rancor.
What do they say?
Let Sleeping Rancors lie.
Your wisdom is always fascinating to me, Master Kel.
Oh, I'm no master. Just call me Kel.
Right, Kel.
As you enter the Sleeping Rancor, you can see it is a seedy cantina, not well upkept, but it's not the worst place you've ever been. And of course, the Republic has an interest in hearing about the folk in the Anowit sector. So this is more than just a stopover for a drink. This is a little bit of the introducing yourself to the locals, or at least getting to know them.
Being the person that Kel is, I think upon entering you would do the equivalent of a vigilance check.
And you can do so. Let's go ahead and do the roll, and then I'll describe things based on that.
Can I add my Force die to tie in sense? Since I have a couple ranks in sense to be able to sense emotional states and even thoughts up to medium range.
Yeah.
What difficulty did you say?
This would be average with one setback. New place you're unfamiliar with. It's a small town. It's not empty. This is a bustling cantina, so there's a lot of emotions and thoughts to sort through.
Okay. That is a success and a dark side. I think he looks around and, sensing the seedier side of things, passes on hearing their innermost thoughts and dreams and just takes a quick look around.
The Sleeping Rancor is set up, as you might expect, a roadside diner to be set up. There's a few windows that look out into the road that have banks of booths and tables. And then a wraparound bar on the other side of it. I would say this canteen is probably about 2/3 full, with people taking up various spots. The owner, Duff Karos, aka Stumpy, stands behind the bar, and he allows his multi-armed service droids to do the heavy lifting of taking orders and delivering orders. Kel is able to make out that a good portion of the clientele, with this being so close to the spaceport and the warehouses, are likely not on the up and up. There are plenty of honest folk who live in Edgefield, but given its proximity between two of the major stops now on the hyperspace lane, it's a good place to stop over without a lot of watchful eyes.
So, lots of out-of-towners. Horbo, we should head up to the bar. I don't know, these booths are a little small.
One of the gangly multi-armed droids comes and hovers over. Its limbs are all kind of like folded up. It would be intimidating if it wasn't serving food. It looks like it could be quite the monster if it just didn't have an assortment of trays and little spouts for refilling drinks and all of that. And it would just like to know.
Welcome. What can I get you?
I've heard good things about your drinks here. I'd like one of the best you've got, and maybe something a little lighter for the kid. What do you have in Horbo?
I'll have a bottle of siren milk if you have one.
I believe we have the equivalent. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
And it putters off to the back and comes back a couple minutes later and puts out 2 cups. Tankard for Kel, and it almost looks like a shot glass in Horbo's hand of milk. It's one of those smaller, like 8-ounce, like little cups, glasses.
We both have funny proportions with drinking vessels because Horbo is large and Kel's mouth is huge, being a Dravitan. But he takes much smaller sips than you would think he would.
As you're drinking your drinks and taking in the local color, there's a man leaning most of his body across the bar with a drink. And he looks over, and it's not long before he's like,
"What are you doing with those sissy drinks? You're not from around here, are you?"
"No, sir, we are not from around here." He sort of turns in his stool to face him and show off his very Jedi outfit. I don't think he's wearing the full robes today. He's got this sort of quilted doublet on with that. It sort of looks like it might be armored underneath and a high collar. "No, we're from... Where are you from?"
You core folk don't know a thing about living a hard life or even doing a hard day's work.
"If you got to know us, I'm sure you would be surprised, but you just have a good day there."
I will have the day that I want to have, not the day you want me to have, okay?
"Sir, my young friend and I are minding our own business and would greatly enjoy it if you would mind your own as well."
Don't tell me what to do.
He turns back around.
Hey you, I'm talking to you.
"So, Horbo, how are your studies with Master Zarias going?"
Master Zarias as well. That gentleman seems much less well.
"He's had too much to drink today."
Hey, I'm fine. It's you are the one that are not fine. I'll tell you what for now.
We were brought here to make friends. Should we try and ease his anger in some way?
"By all means, Horbo. Give it a go."
Horbo stands up. I think he probably is, I don't know how tall the ceilings are, but he's probably one of the bigger people in here. There might be some other large folk. Yeah, I think Horbo has been traveling with just like a travel poncho and maybe some armor, but I think right now he's pulled his poncho off and tied it around his waist because the climate's pretty warm on Varonat. He's going to walk over to this individual. We'll see how this goes.
Kel turns and just puts an elbow on the bar and leans back a little and watches.
Excuse me, sir, you seem to think that the Jedi are some kind of hindrance on this world, or that we are not serving the galaxy in a helpful way. I just wanted to dispel any misconceptions about our path and our goals within the Outer Rim.
The man hasn't looked up at Horbo yet. He's staring into his drink and muttering, and to that he says,
The Jedi? What's that? Some namby-pamby league of something or other?
and he turns and stands and knocks over his drink as he does this and gets his arms like cocked ready to go, and then he sees Horbo for the first time, really.
Oh my, you're a big one, aren't you? Where do they feed you?
And someone else from just off to the side of Horbo's vision sneaks in and grabs hold of this man and says,
Please excuse my friend. It's been a long day for him. Come on, Brom. Let's get you back home.
He spilled his beverage, and maybe he did not like what I ordered. Maybe he just needs to try it. Next time he's in here, please treat him to a thaw of siren milk on me. And he drops a credit to one of the many armed droids serving.
and let's have Horbo make a perception check.
Okay. Horbo's perception is not good.
Not good.
It's not good.
Flip a light side point.
Sure, why not? And what is the difficulty?
The difficulty is going to be, I think it's 3 red, actually.
Perception, I've got nothing. 3 red. Something's gonna happen.
Well,
I mean, obviously.
First of all, as a skilled teacher, I can add some successes to your check.
When I fail?
But would I right now? Because you're just doing this on your own.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm watching the interaction, and as this person walks away, Kel stands and puts a hand on Horbo's back and says, "Now what do we learn from this interaction?"
Perhaps some altercations are unnecessary?
It's a good lesson to learn. Keep an eye out around here. There might be others who don't value our time and skills in this part of the galaxy. So I'm going to take a 2 strain, and you can have 2 successes.
2 successes? Wow. Is there any reason I should get a boost?
You are taller than everyone in here and can see over everybody's heads.
I do have a good vantage point.
But it's crowded.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Should we add a boost and a setback for that? Okay, that does not make any sense.
Makes perfect sense.
There should not have been any. There should have been a despair. There should have been failures. I feel sort of guilty about this.
Oh, it's fine.
It's teamwork.
Yeah.
It's part of having a helpful teacher nearby.
Sometimes I like to fail, but I got 3 successes and 1 advantage.
So Kel sits back down after he gives his little tiny bit of wisdom.
When Kel patted Horbo on the back and said, what did we learn here? Because of the size difference, he patted right around where the jacket or poncho has been tied around Horbo's waist. And in doing so, felt a data pad that had just been tucked in there.
Whoa.
And it's tucked right close to where the second person who came over and took Brahm away came from the same direction. You're able to notice that something has been slipped into Horbo's poncho.
I like that I succeeded on the check, even though Horbo rolled it.
No, that's fine.
Well, it was teamwork because you patted it, you felt it,
Yeah.
and so did Horbo, right? You patted a hard thing that's just supposed to be fur, and you both noticed that something there wasn't there before.
What do you got back there, Horbo?
Huh? Back where? Horbo reaches around and pats his back, finds the spot that Kel put his hand on, and pulls out a data pad that in Horbo's giant hands looks like he's holding a regular phone instead of a tablet.
Looks like we've got a little mystery here. One of our 2 friends put that there.
Horbo, gives it a tap or 2 and places it on the table in front of the 2 of them.
It's heavily encrypted. We could take one more roll on this. There's a logo on the pad itself. A knowledge outer rim would be to recognize.
I'll do an outer rim. Horbo's not doing a knowledge outer rim.
Nope. But maybe I can pass my advantage to you?
Sure.
Okay. And the difficulty?
We're still in the average territory.
Can I have a boost because I have, as stated in my bio, been all over the galaxy, done a lot of traveling, and been in this sector for a while now?
Yeah, how long have you been in the Anowit sector?
I think I've been in the Anowit sector for almost a year. Like, we're coming close to the 1 year anniversary, and maybe that's the longest time he's stayed in one place for a while.
Okay. Yeah, you can have a boost for that.
You have any setbacks for me?
Not on this one, no.
I got 3 successes and 2 advantages.
3 successes and 2 advantages. You recognize the logo on the pad for the Fig conglomerate.
Do I know stuff about Fig?
For 2 advantage, I would think you get a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have specific questions you would like answered? Otherwise, I'll just give you some of the general information.
I think he would know from Bava that they mine. That is at least one of the things that Fig does. There's a Fig mine on Bava, pretty close to where the temple is, actually.
Yeah. So you've got they're a relatively large mining company. They have a number of planets that have mines on them and have been operating for a couple of centuries out here. So they're not obscure. No reason for a setback because they're not particularly obscure, though they don't have too much of a presence on this particular planet.
Fig. Well, I suppose we should try and open this thing up, though. I'm not very good with these sort of things. Don't suppose you are.
Opening things up?
No, not in the way you're thinking. No, I need to turn it on.
No, not as such, Master.
The bell that's over the door of the entrance jingles, and 3 very corporate-looking security folk stride in, one of them holding out a handheld data pad. It's got some antennas on it and kind of holds it out over the room. A couple of patrons of the diner squeeze past them and head out, and it kind of beeps a little bit, and then it happens to land and beep a lot more loudly on you two. The man in the front says,
"It's over here, boss."
and the one in the back comes striding up.
Yep, we found him. You two are under arrest for corporate espionage. That datapad is Fig conglomerate property.
Okay. I don't have this force power.
Okay.
But I would like to say, we are not under arrest. And wave my hand.
Okay.
What should I roll? Just the force dice and hope for double?
Unless we want to make it a deception roll.
I would happily do a deception with my force rating. Let's see. It would be a discipline versus discipline with force dice if I were to do it straight out of the book.
Okay. The person you are targeting has 2 ranks in discipline and 2 willpower. So it's 2 red.
Great. Wow. 2 failures and 3 dark sides. We are not under arrest. He waves his hand.
Are you tapping into those dark side?
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You are in possession of stolen corporate documents in a CD bar like this. Well, I don't know who you're trying to sell them to, but you're going to spend a good long time with the Javin Labor Co. Let's go.
Do you know who we are?
Under arrest. That's who you are.
He stands up. His outfit very visible. You do not recognize Jedi Knights when you see them.
I recognize thieves.
The fact that this ended up in our hands means that something bigger is going on. But he gave this to us, and we're going to hold on to it as evidence.
I'm sure your accomplices gave that to you. I know you've got a man on the inside.
Now, this man did say something in the arrest there that I think triggers a memory for Horbo.
Okay.
The Javin Labor Co. or company, while associated with the Fig conglomerate loosely, gets their labor from not great sources. Some would say unwilling, and I think Horbo would know that he spent some time on Coruscant lifting and moving boxes against his will.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks in large part to this company.
The Javin Labor Co.?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Horbo has kind of a memory. A memory is kind of coming to the forefront of his mind. And as he sees this, he thinks about some of the toil that he was forced into. And he thinks of the folks that the guards, the people that watched him, that forced him to do things day in and day out. And thinks about being taken from his icy, mountainous planet. And yeah, these feelings are definitely a lot for Horbo. So do these individuals work for that company? Or are they like representatives? Or are they like...
Do they have the FIG logo on their uniforms?
I think that they have the Javan Labor Co. logo on them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think that loose association is that they're essentially the enforcers or the bounty hunters for this mining company, a way for the mining company to keep its own books clean. It can do its dirty work from here. And so these 4 men in the diner right now are enforcers for that labor company.
I think as Horbo sees the logo, that's when a lot of these memories come flooding back to him. And I think that he is like a little bit jarred and shakingly gets up from the table and picks up the data pad and tucks it back where it was originally placed in his poncho around his waist.
Kel stands up and puts a hand on Horbo's arm, feeling the strong emotions rise in him. And he says, "Consider this us resisting arrest. Come on, Horbo, let's get out of here." And we start to walk out of the sleeping Rancor.
As you take not more than a step, the 3 backing up their chief have all drawn their rifles. And it says,
I don't think you'll be going anywhere without these.
and he pulls out a pair of handcuffs for each of you.
Yeah, I think if Horbo sees these guys with handcuffs, there's gonna be... This is definitely preying on part of his history and maybe his emotional weakness. Things might get a little reckless for Horbo. How reckless is he gonna get?
That's my question. How reckless is he gonna get?
I think when he sees those handcuffs, I have not mentioned that Horbo is a force pike wielder. Light pike is actually the correct word. So he's had this sort of like almost walking stick this whole time. And I think he's gonna click it on the floor and the light blue blade of his light pike will ignite.
I think before you click it on the floor, Kel is going to try and move it out of your hands. Not a thing I have, again, but would like to attempt to not have Horbo use his lightsaber here. And I think actually what he does is something that I do have. I'm going to use Bind.
You're going to use it on Horbo or on them?
On Horbo, yeah.
Okay.
So the Bind ability, the Bind basic power, lets me spend a force pip to immobilize a target within short range. And hopefully I get light side. I got 3 dark side.
Wow.
There's a palpable tension in the air.
Kel is aware that Horbo is about to make the situation worse, but knows that in stopping Horbo, he would also hurt Horbo. So he lets him do it.
I think you kind of have to. If it's between being bound by an enemy or being bound by his master, I don't know.
Kel also knows that Horbo is really just good at punching things and says, "Horbo, no need for a lightsaber. Just remember what Master Zarias taught you."
I think Horbo is having a hard time finding himself in this, like, backed into a corner. Let's see, I don't have good discipline.
Want to do like a discipline check for what's going to happen with Horbo?
Yeah, I thought about it, but his discipline is so bad. I could still do it, but...
Just gave you a little inspiring word. Think about what Master Zarias taught you. He also has something called Master Instructor, which is once per round. As an out-of-turn incidental, I may suffer 2 strain to allow an ally to use my discipline instead of your own. So that would at least give you a yellow. So it would be yellow green instead of 2 greens.
I would do that just to see if we can stop him from painting the walls with these people. So what would the difficulty be on a discipline check?
What do you think the difficulty would be?
I know. I'm like checking myself here.
Yeah.
Probably hard.
Yeah.
So that'd be 3 purple. So
Against a yellow and a green.
Okay.
I'll flip to upgrade on it too.
So you want 3 purple and a red? Or 2 purple and a red?
2 purple and a red.
Okay.
Horbo has made himself big and is carrying a big stick that is on fire. I think that this result is the last kind of action before the Javan Labor Co. folk are going to fear for their lives and take action.
Okay, I'm going to roll this. I'm scared. 3 failures and 2 threats. I think Horbo's about to go off. I don't think anything can stop it.
Yeah, I think we have to roll initiative now.
So I think as we roll our initiative, Kel probably senses that Horbo's about to do something reckless and reaches out to the Force, and I'm going to commit a Force die to, once per round, upgrade the difficulty of an attack against Kel.
Okay. By all intents and purposes, combat seems inevitable at this point. I think Horbo's large size had them ready with itchy trigger fingers to protect themselves. We've got Horbo and Kel at one end of the bar where they had been sitting, with the leader of the group in front of them with the handcuffs that he had pulled out. And his 3 compatriots are basically shoulder to shoulder between you and the door. You got the first slot in the initiative, but before whichever PC is going to take that, I do have to flip a token here. Suddenly, there's an angry bellow that interrupts all of the tension in the room. The side wall of the cantina bursts in a shower of stone and dust, and you are deafened by an angry bellow. An extremely furious Ronto thunders into the cantina, trampling everything and everyone in its path. So on the wall far to you, an enraged Ronto has entered the initiative as well. However, you rolled well because you are a Jedi. So the first slot in the initiative is yours. It is pandemonium in the cantina.
I think Horbo has to go first, and then Kel has to react.
Yeah.
Horbo's gonna go. And there is a Javan Labor Co. person approaching Horbo with binders. Horbo's not having it. Horbo's going to lash out at this individual. I think his lightsaber is going to be involved.
Ooh, all right.
Is he even remotely phased by the Ronto?
Horbo's going to attack this guy. I'm going to do a lightsaber on this dude.
They're all adversary, right?
Yeah.
What is adversary? Adds an automatic setback?
No, it's red. So your lightsaber against them is going to be a red and a purple.
Can I get a boost for Horbo's failures and his rage towards this individual and his past experiences? Okay, we're going to do this. No boosts, no setbacks. 2 successes with 4 advantages.
What's your like pike do?
It does 6 damage with a crit of 3.
You don't have vicious or anything.
Would be good to know.
No, I don't have vicious.
So what does this attack by Horbo look like? It won't take the guy out, but it will shatter his senses.
I think that as they walk towards Horbo with these binders, Horbo can't control himself. And with 1.5 lunge steps forward and his lightsaber ignited, he swings more so for the binders, this thing that is like a symbol of his entrapment, his forced labor. And he brings his blade right through these binders, cuts them in half. And I think a lightsaber blade's long. He slices this guy across the chest, not killing him, but this is a pretty, not a wound anybody wants to get.
Well, the enraged Ronto never broke stride as it entered the cantina. This pike slicing as this huge beast is trampling everything in its path, and presently it's made it to the group in the middle that have their blasters pointed at you. So this Ronto roars and bellows loudly and stomps the payphone that's next to the bathrooms is just gone now, and it charges into the middle and runs over one of the Javan agents almost to death as he tramples through, and he knocks over the closest one to him. So number 3 here is prone, but a PC turn now.
Kel does not agree with the work that these people do. He does not agree with their methods. He does not agree with a lot of things, but they are still living people. He is going to go try to settle the Ronto down in the hopes that they will see him helping them. But as he runs past Horbo, where Horbo swings his lightsaber down, he says, "Horbo, leave, run, through the window, now." And he runs up to the Ronto, and I would like to do a survival check. I would like to add my force die based on our experience with the bava worms.
Now, I think you should get to do this, but I will tell you that in the modular encounter,
of course,
this is not permitted.
Well, if the Ronto is untamable, I think Kel would get that idea, being currently open to the beings in this room. He has his ongoing sense ability open right now.
I think you should still do it. I think it's good. I want to reflect the fact that this needs to be like a 4 purple roll. If we were going like opposed against something on this Ronto, it would be like an easy check. But this Ronto cannot be calmed down. It cannot be stopped.
I'm gonna flip to upgrade.
Okay.
This is not something I'm good at.
And I will also impose a setback on it too.
All right, and I still have my 1 force die committed, so I'm only rolling 1 force die with this check. Be gone, ye beast. A failure and a light side.
Failure and a light side.
Well, I'm going to use the light side to cancel out the failure. It's still a failure, but it looks less bad.
Could you use the light side to have what you said to Horbo resonate?
I'll use it as an advantage. Here's what I want to do. You can use it as an advantage if, only if, it is a check that you use to leave this place. Kel moves towards this enraged Ronto slowly with a hand up and saying, whoa there, big fella. You're not backing down. Okay. Yep. Okay. And he backs back off, just putting a little bit of distance between himself and this beast, and hoping that his words resonated with Horbo.
Kel approached the Ronto and tried to talk it down a little bit, but it wasn't met with a lot of success. And part of the reason for that was, as Kel was trying to calm down the biggest, scariest creature in the room next to Horbo, the 2 other agents, the enforcers, fire at the Ronto, hitting it, continuing to enrage it. It doesn't look like their blasters are doing a whole lot of damage to it, but they are certainly pissing it off. Simultaneously, Brahm and Bim are back. They come in through the hole the Ronto created, coming in from the same direction, and they are firing at the Javan folk at the moment. They take out the trampled guard, he's out, and they wound another. The one standing in front of Horbo, the leader, backs up just barely, not enough to get out of engaged range, and with his pistol shoots Horbo for that 8 damage. And now we're back at the top.
As the blaster bolts come raining in through the hole in the wall, Kel puts his one hand up over his face, ducks down and grabs onto his lightsaber because he is near the Ronto. There are lots of blaster bolts coming towards the space he is in. So he takes his lightsaber off of the back of his belt and ignites it at his side, its yellow blade extending. And I think he's gonna move back towards the booths. He's going to do the thing that he told Horbo to do, which is try to get out of here, because whatever conflict they're in, it is not their conflict. And while there are lives at stake right now, getting himself and his friend's Padawan out of this place safely is his number 1 priority. So, yeah, two maneuvers. 1, draw a lightsaber. 2, get it close to booths and window. Horbo, come on.
You are practically right up against the booths and the windows. This isn't a very large cantina.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to move around it. Any action?
Yes, and that action is a leadership check on Horbo. So, Horbo, what's your discipline?
It is 2 green.
Andrew, what do you want to add to that?
I'll flip. I will flip for it.
Okay, I will too.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think I have anything to add to that.
Do you want to, is there any way you could add your light side that you got earlier that I have not added to anything yet?
No, that is for you. Okay. Only if you do what I tell you to do.
I can't say I will.
Kel opens his big mouth, and his words go on deaf ears as Horbo, I don't know what Horbo does, but Horbo is clearly not paying attention.
I mean, there's a man in front of Horbo who just shot him with a blaster.
There is.
NPC slot's next. And I would be remiss not to have the enraged Ronto charge forward and attempt to trample both the security agent and Horbo. Okay, Horbo, here it comes.
Okay.
The Ronto, as it's getting shot at, rears back up. Its head bashes like back and forth, and it takes out portions of the ceiling and decoration and decor of the roof. And then it begins a gallop, and it gallops through the leader, the agent there, and goes to trample Horbo, only taking 4 damage. I think, Doug, you can describe how Horbo meets this immovable object.
Horbo is strong. Horbo can stop a humongous beast of burden when focused. And I think as he looks up as this Ronto gallops towards him, he hears the breath and the feet upon the cantina floor and extinguishes his lightsaber just quick enough to catch the front of it as it collides with him and slows it to almost a crawl, but it pushes him back and I think smashes him into part of the bar behind him, and he takes a heavy hit. There's nothing he can do about that, but I think at the same time pushes the Ronto past him.
Yeah, it rolled an advantage, and that advantage is that it hits the other people it's engaged with, which is why the other agent's down. So you are engaged with the Ronto, but it is your turn.
I wish I could just fight this Ronto to death, and it would be really cool to see if I could win or not, and I'm not sure if I could. But it is also cool that Horbo's even able to, like, compete. But what I want to do is Horbo is going to try and slow this Ronto down enough that he can get out of the way, get out of the line of fire. I want him to, if he succeeds, do like a roll over and into the interior of the bar and try and like take cover from some, as if he's even can make himself small enough to do that and get closer to the hole the Ronto came in on.
So the hole the Ronto created is going to be, I mean, it's probably short range from you, as most of the stuff in this bar really is. So it would be 2 maneuvers to get to that hole and then another maneuver to get out. So you wouldn't be getting out necessarily in this turn, but you can get all the way up against that wall just by kind of sidestepping the Ronto with maneuvers.
Okay. That's what I want to do for this turn.
Okay.
I would like to, if I can, take some cover though.
Sure. We can say there's some rubble there.
Okay.
You can tack that on. So as this cantina continues to be destroyed and descend into pure chaos, the 2 remaining Javan Labor Co. folks basically try and work their escape. They do some nice cover fire and move and grab their 2 compatriots that have been knocked out, and they drag them to where the doors are. They haven't left the diner yet, but they are right on the verge of being able to get outside away from the Ronto. Bim and Brom do spot that Horbo is making his way through the hole that the Ronto made, and they turn their attention to Horbo. Bim fires first, a few blaster shots that hit Horbo as Brom closes the distance and takes to punching Horbo, sucker punching him really while he's not paying attention, and he got a triumph on that with a couple of threat. And so I think the threat is that he doesn't get to move again, but he's connecting with Horbo's solar plex, and let's roll a critical injury for Horbo.
Let's see. So I'm rolling a crit off balance. I add a setback to my next check. That sounds so bad.
Yeah.
Horbo, you're getting smacked.
And we're back up to the top of the initiative.
Okay. So what happened? The guy who I sliced, has he just been trampled to death?
He's done.
His unconscious body is currently with the other 2. They're trying to drag him out of the canteen.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. What do you got, Mark?
I got something. Kel, we'll see if Kel's thing works. Probably won't, because he's just rolling dark sides today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to drop my sense, where he would be able to sense incoming attacks and attempt to bind the Ronto in place.
Nice.
Can I do that? Yes. I may spend 1 pip to immobilize a target until the end of my next turn. So Kel has his lightsaber lit. He is facing back into this bar where 2 people are assaulting Horbo right now. People are running and screaming, and this Ronto is like confused and stuck and trying to turn around in this space. And Kel just reaches out his non-lightsaber hand towards the Ronto, and it stops struggling, and I think it probably like lifts 2 inches in the air and is just sort of floating there. And he opens his big Dravatan mouth and shouts, "Enough!" at the 2 people that are beating up Horbo.
And I assume size matters not for bind. There's a restriction.
Size matters not, no.
Yeah, okay, good. Unfortunately, the 2 guys attacking Horbo at the moment don't seem to really care for Kel's opinion. And Brahm takes the opportunity to take another swing at Horbo. Brahm was made for this. He's got 2 successes, 2 threats, and a triumph yet again. So we've got 6 damage this time, which I believe Horbo will soak all of, which is good because I can't crit on you again. I think for the triumph, Brahm would spin that to his advantage. And what I mean by that is he, with his brass knuckles, takes several shots at the abdomen of Horbo. But Horbo isn't as surprised this time. He's able to kind of more absorb these hits. And really, they're not as hard to punch as they were before. And with the 2 threats, Horbo notices that Brahm is actually punching and then like clawing at him. And in a couple of moments, a couple of hits, he pulls the data pad out from Horbo's control and now has that. So the triumph is that he has what he wants. And the 2 threats are that Horbo knows that he has it. And then he will spin a maneuver to disengage and kind of retreat out the hole in the wall out into the street. He's not getting very far because he's just got 1 maneuver. Mm-hmm. And it's Horbo's turn.
Brahm and Bim. Do we know them like from the past? Okay. So we don't know their names. We don't know anything about them. They have not even introduced themselves.
Brahm was the drunk.
Right. Okay, so we heard his name maybe earlier in the game, but
Bim was the one you noticed the data pad after. So to put the whole thing together, Brahm acted drunk to distract you.
They
then planted a data pad so that you could take the fall for the guys who came into the cantina right after they planted that on you.
And then they've retrieved it to like hide even more of their evidence. They just wanted us to get attacked.
They wanted you to take the fall.
Cover their tail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Is there any way I can attack both of them at the same time?
No.
That's just not a thing.
They're too far apart. They're not like engaged with each other. So even if you got one, you couldn't triumph to hit the other. Bim is by the bar and Brahm is out in the alleyway. Noticeably, I mean, you would have noticed this as you ran up, Horbo, that the hole is where the Rontos where the Ronto stable was or is. It's pretty run down now, like a angry Ronto ran through it or something.
Mm-hmm. So let me just say this again. So one of them, which is the one that left out the hole?
Brahm.
The one who's been punching you.
Yeah.
I want to maneuver and strike Brahm.
Okay.
This is beyond Horbo being the initial aggressor. Horbo feels, regardless of conflict, Horbo feels no remorse for attacking his attacker.
All right.
So I'm going to maneuver and do a lightsaber attack. What is my difficulty?
This be the same. And when you hit build pool on that, double check that it's adding the setback from your critical injury. I believe it does. So
it says,
don't add too many.
Yep, there is one. Good job. Let's see. Can I get a boost because Brahm is like running away and so he won't be able to avoid my attack?
I don't think so.
I love when people say no to boost because it's so hard sometimes.
It is, but you're off balance.
5 successes, 2 threats, and 1 triumph. Yikes. That was a good roll. So the damage on my lightsaber is 6 So +4, it's going to be 10.
+5.
Oh, okay.
Your successes.
You got 5 successes, so we're at 11.
2 threats. I don't know what the triumph is. Is an automatic crit? Is that right?
It can be. It could be other things.
Automatic crit would be good because then I can get breach, so that'll ignore.
No, it already ignores soak.
Oh, it always does?
Yeah.
Okay.
He could drop the data pad, or you could hit the data pad.
I want that data pad in one piece. We can have, if we win the day, we can have Bekros decode it for us.
If it's a mechanical computer, perhaps.
Regardless, I think Bekros is the best.
Nobody can do computers.
The most capable. I don't know. I kind of want to. Yeah, I kind of want him to drop it if I'm able to do that.
Okay. You would have to spend the triumph on that. It can bounce back towards you. Since you have threat on the attack as well, you can't just drop it. But the triumph can allow a major narrative boon, so it can be in your possession for a triumph to spend on it, but will be at the triumph.
Okay, so then what will you'll decide how you spend the threats?
The threats are going to be that Bim there has a pretty good shot on you.
Okay.
You turned your back to a man with a blaster.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Horbo brings down his light pike on Brom. Brom takes a slice right across his back and stumbles and throws the data pad up in the air just by the nature of getting that impact, and it falls back into the arm or the elbow of Horbo, so it's on his person. And yeah, Bim's gonna go next. He's been lining up a shot on Horbo once Brom got clear, and then Horbo's a big enough guy that I don't think that Brom's in much danger of an upgrade at the moment. The best news Horbo's heard all day is that he has very thick skin. Because he takes
fur.
another. Yeah, all the fur. Its fur gets singed. Bim hits him with another shot, but does only 6 damage.
I think that there are moments of Horbo just running his hand across a shot that's hit him, and just some ash falls down, and he's fine. It's just the ash of burnt hair.
But he did get 5 advantage, and I think that the number of shots that come at Horbo, a couple of them hit along the arm and his back where his raised pike is, and the sudden jolt causes him to drop his pike, and it kind of clatters away from him down this little embankment. And then, so that's them two. The Ronto can't move. It's bound. And the remaining security force make it out to the street with their pals. You can chase them down if you like, but they are removed from initiative presently, having made it outside.
Since Horbo is still kind of on top of Doug, how would you feel about grabbing Brom and throwing him at?
I was trying to think of some kind of action that didn't involve my lightsaber, and I was like, could I use him as a human shield? That seems very un-Jedi-like, but somehow throwing him seems more Jedi-like. Is it back to us?
Yeah.
It is, in your PC slot.
And are you okay with me doing that?
Yeah, if you want to do that, do it.
I'm going to throw, give me 2 B names. I'm going to throw Brom at Bim.
Okay.
Is that the correct names?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I do have the data pad. I don't necessarily have my lightsaber.
No. It's going to be a
maneuver to pick it back up.
Yeah.
I
A
think
maneuver that would disengage you from...
I like it narratively. Maybe I can knock one of them down in the process or something like that. I want to pick up Brom by the collar, toss him with one arm as hard as I can, as hard Horbo can at Bim. So that's going to be
But that sounds like a ranged heavy with an improvised weapon to me.
Ranged heavy improvised weapon.
Could he argue for an athletics lifting?
He can argue for an athletics. I would allow athletics. The targeting with athletics, I think, would cause reduced damage.
Yeah, I don't think it would. I think it would just get them in the same place.
Yeah. So if you want the throw to do damage, I think you're in a ranged attack. If you just want to get them to move, basically, and then we can hand wave a little bit of damage to it, but it's not the main focus, then athletics would be fine.
What would the difficulty be different or about the same?
Let's see. He's a ranged band away. So athletics would be, I think it's a little bit. 1. What's Horbo's brawn?
It is 5.
Okay. I think it's an average athletics check with 2 setback to it. And I do think that is probably the ranged difficulty as well. I think it's the same difficulty.
I'm going to do athletics because
Okay.
there's a much higher rate of success.
Enhance.
I haven't used any force powers at all. Okay, so I could use enhance. I also have move, but I can't move people that big. So enhance I put my force point into it.
Okay.
And then do I add a force die just for see what happens?
You add a force die, and that's it.
To the athletics.
Okay. Yes. Okay, let's do this. Did you say I had a setback?
That was the previous round.
Okay.
I don't think it's ongoing when you're... Yeah, it's just your last skill check was the only one that needed a setback.
Okay.
There are 2 setbacks that I did say would be in there, though.
Well, I got 6 successes and 2 light sides. I was very successful in picking up Brahm by his collar and giving him a good old chuck in Bim's direction.
So let's roll those 2 setbacks, just the setbacks, and see if you get any threats with it.
Okay. Was I supposed to have 2 setbacks?
Yeah, because he's gangly,
Okay. 1 failure and a threat. So that means that I got 5 successes, 1 threat, and 2 light side.
Yeah.
You can use the light side as advantages, and then you'll have 1 advantage at the end.
Well, I don't want threats, so that does sound good. So then I would have 5 successes and 1 advantage. Can my advantage be to knock one of them, I probably can add a setback to one of their next rolls?
Yeah, I think you've got them pretty well tangled together.
Okay.
From that, making it... Yeah, I think knock him over. I mean, with 5 successes, you definitely get him to land in the exact spot that you were hoping. But narrate that a little bit for me. What does it look like Horbo doing this?
Horbo's lightsaber falls to the dirt path and rolls a little bit away, and Horbo only takes a split second to glance at it before picking up Brahm by the collar and saying, "What is it that you want with us? Why are you doing this? Answer us!" And he turns and throws Brahm across back to the cantina towards Bim, and the 2 of them collide as Bim is just beginning to take aim at Horbo's back again. And yeah, the 2 of them hit hard.
They crumple to the floor, a tangle of limbs.
Are either of them going to do anything?
Bim is going to continue to shoot at Horbo. I think he's going to spend a maneuver to untangle himself, and then he's going to level a quick shot at Horbo. Because they really want that data pad. We'll add an extra setback in there for all those successes and see how we do. 7 damage.
Okay.
1 damage.
1 damage.
It's creeping up there on Horbo.
Yep, that's pretty much the NPC's turn there. We're back over to Kel.
Kel walks calmly towards these 2 people. I think the remains of whatever panicking people around are just get out of his way as he walks with his lightsaber ignited at his side. And he's going to swing at the person who has been shooting Horbo. Okay, that's 10 damage. So he swings his lightsaber, trying to cut this person's blaster in half. I think they move out of the way just in time to, instead of get their blaster cut in half, get a nice slice on the shoulder and arm. And Kel says, "This can end one of 2 ways. Which way do you want it? The way where we all walk out of here, or the way where just me and this Padawan walk out of here? It's the easy way or the hard way. Which way will it be?"
And Bim, being caught very off guard, considers...
Meanwhile, the Ronto drops.
Oh, yeah. The Ronto's not bound anymore. The exact thing that is happening as Bim is opening his mouth to respond, the Ronto's trampling Kel and potentially the others. So we've got 13 damage to Kel. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting the boost and the extra 2 damage. If it spins a maneuver charging, it does 2 extra damage. So that would be 15.
Cool.
How's Kel doing?
Not great.
So Kel slices him and then says, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And there's a loud snort from the Ronto, and the ground shakes a little as it full charges at that corner of the bar and runs headlong into Kel, knocking him back a bit.
Oh, come on, big guy. I thought we had an agreement.
And then Brom's laying on the ground because he just got thrown. But he is the big guy. How's he doing? Okay, that one fell off the table. All right, Brom, from his prone position, just pulls his blaster pistol out, and he is actually shooting at the Ronto, which is the most scariest thing to him at this moment in time. He rolls 5 success and a threat, which means he did succeed at getting the Ronto's attention. But he hits it between the eyes. Now it's mad. I mean, it was mad before, but now it's more mad.
Fine, I guess we're doing this the hard way. Kel gets out of here. Going to get out of the hole and around the side of the building. He gets into a place where he can no longer be shot and puts his hands on his knees and tries to calmly breathe in and out.
That sounds good. Is Horbo going to follow along? I mean, Kel's essentially running right past him.
I think Horbo should just leave too. Horbo has move. I wanted at least Horbo to use the force to look to his light pike and pull it to his hand. I think he's going to do that and follow suit with Kel. They've got the data pad. Justice does not always mean death.
So Horbo and Kel make it around the corner in the alley off to the side from the sleeping Rancor. And the sounds of the enraged Rancor trampling and thrashing about in the cantina fade into the distance as they get away. We'll say the town bell is ringing as people respond to this. And there's a pause, a lull in the action. And Kel and Horbo have a chance to catch up with each other.
We keep to the edges of the streets, trying to make sure that we don't catch the eye of the Javan Labor Company, people who might still be around here, and make our way back towards the ship. Kel is walking, holding his ribs. I don't think coming to Edgefields was a good idea.
Horbo throws his poncho from his waist around his shoulders and torso to cover the many blaster bolts that have singed his fur. It is our job to show our strength and to build community in this Outer Rim. I think coming here was necessary, though ill-advised.
Community, yes. Strength, the Jedi seek to be strong in the Force, but not for the sake of strength. I think the galaxy provided you with a test today, and I'm not sure you passed it.
The Javan Labor Company, how are they that different from the Nihil? How are their actions in this Outer Rim and the oppression and the suffering that they cause anyone so different than the terror that the Nihil has brought the galaxy?
I'm not saying it is different. I'm just saying that the way that you reacted was not the Jedi way. Speak first. Words are louder than a lightsaber.
I will try, Kel.
I'm gonna have to make you fly back. I think I broke a rib.
I am also sufficiently injured.
Well, maybe we should go to Lodi's temple on Bespin. It's not that far. They've got Bacta.
Bacta sounds agreeable. We have this data pad. It's of value. Such value that 2 Jedi's lives were put in jeopardy over it. This could be important information. Perhaps important information that could show the Java Labor Company in a less than favorable light.
I'm sure there's something on there. I don't think those people knew who we were. We'll get it in Becro's hands. Maybe he can crack that thing open. I know that's not my field of expertise, but we're gonna talk about this with your master. We're gonna have a discussion. This isn't. I think you're too close to it. It's this is ripe for strong emotions, and you know that strong emotions can lead to the dark side. It's an easy path.
Have you dealt with strong emotions in a similar light, Kel? Have you had an experience where you were so close to a conflict that the conflict brought a strong negative emotion, a fear out of you.
I think we get to the ship and let the ramp down. Yeah, you get in the pilot's seat. I'll tell you all about it on our way back to Bespin.
And the ramp closes. The music swells as the shuttle lifts off from its landing pad and heads out into space. Horbo flips a few switches on the console, a couple beeps, and then the shuttle launches into hyperspace.
Thank you for listening to Path of the Storm. Today's episode was produced by Dicey Cantina and Nightcast Creative. For more from Andrew, you can find Dicey Cantina wherever you get your podcasts. For more from Mark and Doug, check out Coruscant Nights and The Otherplace, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks to AJ from the Otherplace podcast, who played the Service Droid, DeWayne from the Flight Risk podcast, who played Brom, Kim from Tabletop Rebellion, who played Bim, Zach from Tales of the Outer Rim, who played Javin Labor Guard 1, and Nikki, who played Javin Labor Guard Leader. Today's special episode was released for Star Wars Podcast Day 2023. This February 7th marks the 24th anniversary of Jedi Talk, the very first Star Wars podcast. With over 100 shows celebrating, be sure to enjoy special episodes of all of your favorite Star Wars shows.
Oh, hey, you're still sitting here. I ate good, because I got your drinks. Here you go. I got you Batu Bucha tea. It's nice and orange and fruity and bubbly. You know, all the core worlders are really into it right now. So I've heard. And for you, my boy, I have a nice, hot-cold glass of sweet moose milk. Just what a growing boy needs. Here you go. Thank you. Goodbye. Don't forget to tip your waitress and bartender. Bye-bye.